Have you ever wondered why, despite giving everything you got, you still feel trapped in fear, emptiness, and the same painful relationship patterns, as if some invisible thread keeps pulling you back into the past? A thread that begins with the image of your mother. Let me tell you the story of Anna, a 35-year-old woman living in Chicago. Ever since she was a child, Anna longed for love and acceptance from her mother, a cold, distant woman who expected nothing less than perfection. Even as an adult, even after moving cities, attending countless healing workshops, therapy sessions, and reading every self-help book she could find, Anna still found herself paralyzed by the fear of abandonment. She constantly sought validation from her boss, her friends, her romantic partners. Then one day during a deep therapy session, she came face to face with the image of her mother, not just her biological mom, but the archetype of the mother, both nurturing and binding. That day it felt like a heavy weight lifted from her soul. For the first time, Anna felt she had the right to simply be herself. And from that moment, everything began to shift. Just like Anna, so many of us live under our mother's shadow without even realizing it. We think we're grown independent, but the truth is the old wounds, unmet expectations, and words never spoken still quietly shape how we love, how we choose partners, how we handle failure. According to Carl Jung, the archetype of the mother isn't just about the woman who gave birth to us. It's a collective symbol deeply embedded in the unconscious mind of humanity. She is the source of life and yet also the force that can hold us back. Our mothers can be a place of comfort and safety, but also the origin of our deepest fears of rejection. And it's this inner conflict that creates the most lasting wounds, the kind that, if left unhealed, keep replaying in our choices, in our relationships, in the generational stories we unconsciously repeat. In today's video, we'll take a deeper journey into why does the image of the mother hold such profound power over our inner world? How can you tell if you're still trapped in your mother's shadow? And most importantly, how can you integrate the mother archetype to become your true self, free from invisible chains? Take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear might not only shift the way you see your mother, but also change the story of your life. Let's begin the journey. When we first enter this world with our newborn cry, the first person we instinctively seek is our mother, not just for milk, but for that vital gaze of affirmation: you exist, you are loved. A mother's eyes become the first mirror that reflects our sense of worth. But what happens when that mirror is foggy, distorted, or worse, absent? Carl Jung once wrote, "The mother is the archetype of life and also the archetype of destruction. Within each of us, her image can lead us to wholeness or imprison us in perpetual fear." From a very young age, our developing minds perceive our mother not just as a person, but as an unconscious symbol, what Jung called the mother complex. This archetype shapes how we love, how we see ourselves, and how we relate to the world. When a mother is gentle and nurturing, her gaze tells the child, "You are loved just as you are." A child raised in this kind of love grows up feeling confident, worthy, and capable of trusting others. But when a mother is harsh, cold, or unpredictable, the child may internalize distorted beliefs: I must be perfect to be loved, or worse, I'm not good enough. Jung observed that the mother complex is often the root of countless psychological struggles. It embodies the tension between the instinct for life and the fear of rejection. Have you ever wondered where your impulsiveness, self-doubt, or desperate need for approval comes from? The answer often lies deep within the mother's shadow. In collected works Volure 9, Jung describes the mother archetype as having two opposing poles. The positive pole, the nurturing mother, protective, comforting, and a source of safety. The negative pole, the devouring mother, suffocating, controlling, instilling fear and self-doubt. He wrote, in the unconscious, the mother may appear as either angel or witch savior or destroyer. This dark side of the mother doesn't always come from malice. It may arise from her own unhealed wounds, depression, anxiety, or generational trauma passed down through her lineage. Many adults don't realize they're still carrying the emotional imprint of a child, always chasing an invisible sense of approval. Here are some common signs. Constantly needing others to validate your choices, feeling guilty for wanting something different from your family's expectations, attracting romantic partners who are cold or controlling, mirroring your relationship with your mother, fearing failure because it feels like it will make you unlovable, experiencing a lingering emptiness as if something vital is always missing. As Jung warned, what you do not make conscious will control you from the shadows. If we don't recognize how the mother archetype operates within our unconscious, it will continue to replay the same painful story. Take Adam, a 40-year-old creative director in New York. On the surface, he had it all: career, high income, but felt stuck in his relationships. His girlfriend complained that he was emotionally distant, afraid to commit. In therapy, Adam recalled his mother, a workaholic who was rarely present and when she was often critical. Her piercing glare when he made mistakes left a mark. "You're useless." Unconsciously, Adam carried this image into every relationship, believing that love always comes with judgment. He gravitated toward cold, hard-to-please partners. Only when he recognized the shadow of his mother did Adam begin to heal. He stopped chasing approval from the inner mother and started creating self-worth from within. Facing and integrating the mother archetype is not easy. It demands courage, patience, and most importantly, a community that understands. You're not alone. Share your story in the comments below. Sometimes one brave voice telling the truth can inspire hundreds more. Together, we can build a space for awakening, self-understanding, and healing. Now we've seen how the mother's shadow can hold us back, but how do we break those invisible chains? How do we transform from a wounded child into a free, whole adult, capable of loving without reliving old pain? In the next part, we'll explore the path of individuation, the journey Jung believed to be the only way to become truly whole. Have you ever wondered why, even as an adult, you still find yourself drawn into relationships where you feel small, anxious, or controlled? Have you ever caught yourself feeling guilty for not meeting someone's expectations, especially someone who reminds you of your mother? Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that's exactly what recognizing the mother shadow means: bringing to light the unconscious fears, beliefs, and expectations that keep us trapped. That's the first step to breaking the cycle of emotional pain. Pay attention to the situations that trigger strong emotional reactions. A single criticism makes you angry or completely shut down. Someone's coldness sparks intense fear of abandonment. You find yourself constantly trying to please others, 7 when you don't want to. These are often signs you're unconsciously meeting the mother archetype again through current relationships. But once you recognize it, you begin to reclaim the power to respond differently. Take Sarah, a 33-year-old marketing manager in San Francisco. In therapy, she admitted that every time she was about to get promoted, she would sabotage herself, missing deadlines, clashing with colleagues. Memories of her mother surfaced, a jealous, critical woman who couldn't stand seeing others succeed. Deep down, Sarah believed success would make her unloved by her mother. Only when she saw this belief clearly did she feel free to break the cycle, embrace her career growth, and let go of that old fear. Jung believed that dialoguing with the unconscious is one of the most powerful ways to transform the shadow. He encouraged a technique called active imagination, a practice of speaking or writing to the inner image of your mother. Try this. Write a letter to your mother, even if she's no longer here, saying everything you've never dared to say. Sit in meditation and imagine her in front of you. What do you feel? Anger, sadness, fear? Then offer comfort to your inner child, the part of you still carrying pain from that early bond. Many of us carry unconscious vows like, "If my mother suffered, I don't deserve to be happy," or "She was never recognized, so I must shrink myself too." These invisible contracts need to be rewritten. Try affirming, "I give myself permission to be happy even if my mother wasn't. I no longer need to carry my mother's pain to prove my love." Repeat these truths often. They help your mind form new, liberating beliefs. Mike, a 42-year-old engineer in Seattle, always kept his emotional distance from his wife. He loved her, but every time she cried or got upset, he would go silent. In therapy, Mike remembered his mother, a depressed woman who cried often, and blamed him for her pain. Any tears from a woman now triggered a deep fear of being emotionally responsible. Once Mike recognized this pattern, he began expressing his feelings without fear of fixing anyone. He and his wife slowly learned to connect for real. That's a key part of individuation, growing up and stepping out of the mother's shadow. If you've seen the mother's shadow in your own life, share your story in the comments. Your courage might unlock someone else's healing. And if you read someone else's story, let them know they're not alone. Together, we're building a community of people brave enough to face the dark and reclaim their light. Now that we've learned how to recognize and begin breaking free from the unconscious pull of the mother archetype, is recognizing and letting go enough, or is there more? In the next part, we'll dive into how to integrate the mother archetype, how to turn the shadow into strength, and how to build a complete, empowered identity capable of loving and creating freely. Once you've recognized the mother shadow and begun loosening its invisible grip, the final and most transformative step is integration. Jung believed that only by embracing the full image of the mother, both her nurturing and controlling sides, can the process of individuation truly be complete. You can't erase the mother's shadow like wiping away ink. She's part of your personal history and the collective unconscious. To integrate means to see her as a full human being with her own wounds, limitations, and love, so you're no longer ruled by either an idealized or demonized version of her. Remember what Jung wrote: wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the opposites. Whenever you feel the need for comfort or reassurance, pause for a moment, close your eyes and become your own mother. Say to yourself, everything's going to be okay. You are worthy of love even if you're not perfect. This is the act of self-nurturing, embodying the positive mother archetype. It frees you from constantly seeking unconditional love from others. Symbolic actions can help your unconscious register the shift. Try writing a letter of gratitude to your mother, not to send, but to release emotion and acknowledge what you did receive. Drawing or visualizing your inner mother, the one you always wished for, gentle, supportive, and trusting. Creating a small ritual, burn pieces of paper with limiting beliefs you've carried from your mother to mark a new beginning. Carla, 38, from Los Angeles, grew up in a household of constant anxiety. Her mother, who had an anxiety disorder, would explode at every small mistake. Carla learned to fear failure, to shrink under criticism. Years later, as a mother herself, Carla noticed she was repeating those very patterns with her son. Through therapy, she began a daily practice of self-nurturing. Instead of self-criticism, she'd say, "I'm doing my best, I'm learning." By becoming the kind of mother she had always longed for, Carla not only healed her own wounds, she broke the generational cycle. Integrating the mother archetype doesn't mean you must maintain a close relationship with your biological mother, especially if that relationship is harmful. But you can maintain healthy emotional distance. Set boundaries, protect your emotions, your space, your life. Choose to forgive if and when you're ready, not to excuse what happened, but to free yourself from its grip. This journey of integration takes patience, courage, and sometimes you may feel alone. That's why community matters. Share your story, your insights, your breakthrough moments in the comments. When one person tells their truth, it can light the way for others. Let's build a space for brave souls seeking wholeness, healing, and a deeper understanding of themselves. You've already come so far from recognizing the mother's shadow, releasing old patterns, to learning how to embody the mother within. But now comes the real question: how do you move beyond healing and use everything you've lived through as creative fuel to inspire, to lead, and to build a life aligned with your own truth? Let's explore this next in the final chapter, From Healing to Creation, using the mother archetype to rewrite your life story. Individuation, or the journey of becoming your true self, is at the heart of Carl Jung's teachings. According to Jung, only by facing our fears, confronting our shadow, and integrating the powerful archetypes within us, especially the mother, can we grow into a whole and liberated human being. But individuation isn't a single breakthrough moment. It's a lifelong path, a gradual unfolding that involves clear steps and practical tools to help you go deeper, see more clearly, and come into inner alignment. To make this journey more than theory, something you live and feel, you need to understand the process and be willing to practice it. Jung said no one becomes whole by denying the shadow. The shadow includes all the parts of ourselves we dislike, deny, or feel ashamed of, but which often unconsciously drive our behavior. To begin working with your shadow, keep a journal of your strongest emotional reactions. What traits in others trigger deep disgust or intense fascination? These often reflect parts of your own shadow. Ask yourself, if I wasn't afraid of being judged, what would I allow myself to do? Practice radical acceptance. I see this part of me. I don't need to reject it. Jung developed a method called active imagination, a conscious dialogue with inner images, emotions, or dream figures. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes and focus on a vivid image. It could be your mother, your inner child, or a dream scene. Then ask it, what do you want me to know? What do you need from me? Write down the conversation without censoring. This brings unconscious material into awareness, unlocking profound healing. Jung also taught that individuation requires integrating your inner opposite. For men, this is the anima, your feminine side, emotions, intuition, creativity. For women, it's the animus, your masculine side, logic, clarity, strength. To nurture your anima, animus, men might explore emotional expression, create art, or practice mindfulness. Women might take on leadership roles, set bold goals, or strengthen their voice in decision-making. Balancing these opposites helps you become whole, not tilted to one extreme, but living from your full self. Jung believed dreams are letters from the unconscious. Start recording your dreams the moment you wake, even just fragments. Then ask yourself, what images repeat over time? Who appears in the dream? Which archetypes do they represent? What feeling lingers when you wake? Over time, you'll uncover hidden patterns, your personal roadmap to individuation. Symbols also speak powerfully to the unconscious. Choose a personal symbol, a tree, a phoenix, the sun, anything that represents rebirth, strength, and inner growth. Place it somewhere you'll see often, your desk, your bedroom, as a gentle reminder of the path you're on. Individuation is not a path for the faint of heart, but you are not alone. Share your experience in the comments. Which part of the journey have you walked? Where do you still feel stuck? Connecting with others who are also seeking to understand themselves can bring comfort, insight, and strength. Now that you understand how to walk the path of individuation, there's one final question. How do you transform this deep awareness into a new life? One where you are truly free, deeply loving, fully creative, and no longer bound by the past. Stay with us for the final chapter, Rebirth. Rewrite your life story through the power of healing. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But what happens after you've dared to see, confront, and integrate the shadow? That's when healing becomes more than recovery, it becomes authorship. You are no longer simply healing, you are beginning to rewrite the story of your life. This part is about turning your healing journey into a wellspring of creative power, not just to move beyond the past, but to fully live and shape a future with purpose. You can't change what happened, but you can change the meaning you give to it. After healing your relationship with the mother archetype, ask yourself, what did I learn from this pain? How did it teach me to love, to be patient, to value myself more deeply? Where do I want my life story to go from this point on? Redefining your story shifts you from victim to creator, and that is the deepest transformation individuation offers. Jung noticed that after deep inner work, many of his patients felt an urge to create painting, writing, music, dance. He saw creativity as the soul's most natural language, an expression of healing and connection to the inner self. So don't suppress that creative spark. Try writing your life story as memoir, journal, even fiction, drawing, crafting, or doing anything that helps your emotions flow, turning your experience into something to share when you feel ready. Imagine painful memories like heavy stones you've been carrying. If you just keep holding them, they'll exhaust you. But if you set them down, sort through them, see each one clearly, you'll find that every stone tells a story and every story carries a lesson. By learning from the past, you transform what once broke you into the foundation of a stronger self. Here's a small but powerful practice. Each morning, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? What energy do I want to bring into the world? When you see each day as a fresh chapter, you stop replaying old loops. You begin writing forward with intention. This next step is optional, but if you're ready, consider sharing your healing journey with your mother, listening to her story, her fears, her wounds, or simply offering gratitude even in silence for the life she gave you and for the journey you're now walking as a gift to you both. Let us know in the comments. How has your healing journey changed you? Have you begun to rewrite your story on your own terms? Your story could be the light someone else needs to begin theirs. You've made it through 5 parts: recognizing the mother's shadow, releasing patterns, integrating the archetype, walking the path of individuation, and now rewriting your story. But one question remains: how do you keep this momentum alive? How do you stay free and not get pulled back into old cycles? Join me for the final chapter, Sustaining Inner Freedom, Living the Life You Deserve. Dear friend, you've walked with me through a powerful journey from recognizing the mother's shadow, breaking invisible chains, integrating the archetype, walking the path of individuation, to rewriting your life story. You've learned to see the past not as a burden, but as a treasure chest of deep lessons. You've come to understand that only when the light of awareness touches the darkest corners can true freedom begin. Carl Jung said, "We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." And now that you've chosen acceptance, you are no longer just a product of your family history or your unconscious. You are a creator. So ask yourself, what would I do if I no longer feared failure? How would I love, laugh, and live if I weren't tied down by invisible expectations? Inner freedom doesn't mean life is without challenges. It means you've built a strong enough sense of self to stand firm even when the storm hits. When you live your truth, you inspire others to live theirs. When you heal, you stop old pain from being passed down. When you choose to love yourself, you love others with a full heart, not one ruled by fear. You're not just healing for yourself, you're opening a new path for those who come after you. There will be days when you feel tired, defeated, or think your past has already written your future. But please remember, no one else can write the next chapter of your life but you. So stay with it. Every small step brings you closer to the version of you that you were always meant to become. I invite you to share in the comments. What part of this journey touched you most deeply? Is there anything you're still longing to understand or express? Let this video be more than knowledge. Let it be the beginning of a community, a space where we support, understand, and walk together toward healing. If this video sparks something in you, thoughts, feelings, or even a tiny seed of hope, I hope you'll hit subscribe, not for me, but so you don't miss the next videos that will walk alongside you and keep fueling your journey to inner freedom. And if someone you know feels stuck in invisible loops, lost and searching for answers, share this with them. Because maybe, just maybe, your small act of sharing is the key that opens someone else's healing.